Hi everyone, Robert Farrar here of Robert Farrar's Tea and Tarot, and today I'm publishing a video with the provocative title of the most beautiful tarot deck in the world. And here it is. It's called Oculi Occultati, published by Scarlet Imprint, and made by Radomił Bogusławski. Now clearly it's a bit of a rash claim, isn't it? That these are the most beautiful tarot cards in the world. They're certainly some of the biggest. Look, and the thickest. But let's put it like this. There are many beautiful tarot decks in the world, and I've bought some of them. I'm not necessarily attracted to beauty in decks. I'm attracted to decks that I think will help me to read tarot. In other words, clarity, decks that are well organized, decks that have a sense of tradition, because otherwise I can't see the point in reading tarot at all if it isn't to do with tradition. This idea of it coming out of the misty past, I think, is very important. As you know, I read Rider-Waite-Smith decks. I don't read Marseille decks. I don't read Thoth decks either. And yes, there are many very brilliant illustrators and graphic designers in the world. And when I kind of went turbo with my tarot practice at the beginning of 2020, I got very excited, and I spent hours, weeks, days online looking at all the decks that are available, and there are hundreds, if not thousands. It's become a genre, as we all know. But let me tell you what I mean about beauty and about prettiness and about all these wonderful artists online. Here's the quite recently published tarot book by Jessica Hundley, and this was a Christmas present, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I have reviewed it. It's a picture book, and you flick through it, and you're in ecstasies because everything's so lovely. And this book is very much concentrating on the visual side of tarot, the beauty of tarot. And you see how many great illustrators there are currently working or have been working in this century. Look at this one. This is from 1967. And you think, well, that's the most beautiful thing. But the question is, firstly, can you get hold of these beautiful tarots? And in many cases you can't. And secondly, when you do get hold of them, do they work as tarot packs? Like, for example, this one. This is the Black Power Tarot, and it's an image of Tina Turner as Strength, which I think is fantastic. But the question is, what else does that pack have? This is the Major Arcana only, so that's not terribly useful to me anyway. There's all sorts of lovely things, and you might decide, you might find one of these and think, okay, I love it, it's available, I'm going to buy it. And then you buy it, but then there's, how about the other 77 cards that you didn't see in this book? And that's the thing. A tarot deck has to be coherent, it has to work, and it has to be readable. So tarot for me is an alphabet, and I'd like it to be as beautiful as possible, but if the beauty gets in the way, as it does in this one, for example, there's no point in me getting it. The Mermaid deck, I mean, who wouldn't want to have that card? But I've looked at the rest of the deck, and frankly, I don't want it. Okay, here we go. Major Arcana is in monochrome, and actually maybe that's why I didn't buy this pack immediately. I was hovering over it for many months. Every time I went to London, I would go to Watkins Books and have a look. And I would get stuck at the Major Arcana. And I think one of the beauties of this deck is that it has the most beautiful Minor Arcana in the world. The Minor Arcana is in colour, and you can really see the artist kind of getting into his stride. I think all tarot packs are a huge undertaking, take time, and I think this one really achieves lift-off and gets its wings in the Minor Arcana. But the majors are great, and I think what I wanted to also say about this is that I need a tarot pack to have I need the tarot artist to have something to say. It's not really enough that things are pretty. This is called the Oculi Occultati tarot, and which means, I believe, the eyes closed tarot. And again, in one's stupidity, one doesn't even notice at first that almost everyone in this tarot pack has their eyes closed. And there's a very, very dreamy atmosphere, and it kind of puts you into a trance if you really go into it. The deck is clearly made by someone who is interested in divination, not just an artist who wants a subject. Look at that Devil card. It's really quite something. And followed by the most chaotic image in the deck. And I think I was worried that these images are too mysterious and too ambiguous and I wouldn't be able to read them. But they're so strong. Once you've seen them, you know that's the tower. And every time it goes down, that's you're not going to be confused. The other rather odd thing about this deck is that it's clearly a gay deck, not even a queer deck. And it took me a while to kind of really understand that, because I was so focused on the artistry, you know, the draftsmanship. But gay it most certainly is. And the artist starts off, you know, throwing in ladies here and there, that the Lovers card is a lesbian couple. But by the time he gets to the World card, he's decided, you know, I'm just going to draw naked men. And, you know, who can say he shouldn't? And just nipping back. The Major Arcana is also slightly less elegant, slightly more nightmarish, I think. It's a bit like Deep Sleep, the Major Arcana. I mean, that's clearly a rather exciting ooh la la devil. One wouldn't really mind encountering that devil, would one? If one had to encounter the devil. And then we have, unusually here, Temperance as a man. A female couple for the Lovers there. But there's a lot of men coming up in the Minor Arcana, so stay tuned. So the 4 decks are colour-coded. Batons are sort of gold. And also, interestingly enough, each suit is populated by a kind of a tribe, and they're all rather dreamlike and strange, these people. They have strange bits of costume or nudity, and they have strange arms and legs, but it's strange all in slightly different ways. Like they're 4 different tribes of spirits. I also rather love the Eastern European flavour of this deck. Here, I can't help feeling that this is like a sketch of Vladimir Putin without his trousers on. I mean that in a very respectful way, and I find that rather wonderful. I have seen 2 or 3 reviews of this deck on YouTube, and none of them had anything to say about the fact that this is almost entirely mono-sex. You know, none of them said, here's a very beautiful gay deck has come through from Poland. It's just, oh, this is a nice deck. And yet, you know, it's almost entirely, you know, naked men who've been to the gym quite a lot. And I mean, I'm being a bit facetious here, but this is a kind of, I think this is a level of stylized draftsmanship that one hasn't really seen, or doesn't see often. It's a very, very strong sense of personal eccentric taste, someone's own inner obsessive world. It reminds me of Aubrey Beardsley, even though clearly it looks very different from Aubrey Beardsley. But or even I don't know how to pronounce his name, Giger, the guy who created the Alien. There seems to be a whole world, either dreamlike or nightmarish, which has its own rules, and we don't know about those rules. We don't know why these batons are jagged like that. We don't know why people have big feet, or maybe it's just that the artist finds big feet, you know, exciting. And we don't know why these people have pointed ears. But yeah, as you can see, clearly nothing gay going on here. And then the ravishing court cards, which are, I think, very much about costume. Each of the knights is riding an animal, and the picture is right close up, so you don't see the whole animal. Here you just see the eye and the ear. I think that's a lion. Rather I don't quite know how to say this without sounding rude, but the artist has a certain very special relationship to the female body, I think, as well. Breasts seem to be maybe fearful objects. Anyway, but a lovely cat there. Seems to be like Elizabeth I, doesn't it? Who is rumoured to have had a very, very low décolleté. And foreign ambassadors who met Elizabeth I commented on her breasts, so maybe they were just completely visible. And a lovely, lovely king. And as you can see, everyone has their eyes closed here. Like the king here with a beautiful salamander. There are so many wonderful, decisions, style decisions in terms of graphic design and style and mythology. So the second suit here, I've gone straight into Pentacles, who cares? Green themed Pentacles. And a slightly different tribe. I think the Pentacle men are a bit hairier. I mean, they're also down the gym a lot, aren't they? I love that one. He's got an apron on, but nothing else. The 3. The 4. That's quite a hairy guy. Bit Spock-like, actually. Spock haircut. And the couples in this deck, they are mostly male couples in the Minor Arcana anyway. A lovely gardener. And the family there in the 10, it seems to be 3 generations of men and their dog. Then we have the court cards for the Pentacles, the page. A rather mysterious drawing for the knight there, but if we look, there is an eye, and I think it's a bull, isn't it? So you see, and there's a little snout there. So this knight is riding or accompanying a bull. But it's been very, very cropped, hasn't it? So you can't quite see how it all fits together. The Queen with her traditional bunny. An extremely alluring, lounging King of Pentacles. And I agree with the artist here. I find the King of Pentacles one of the most exciting archetypes. And I mean, I think the artist just expresses the erotic excitement of this extremely well. The thighs and the legs are so present. And then such a fancy costume, and then an exposed washboard stomach, which frankly is quite a nice idea. Amazingly charming suit of cups here, in which they're mermen, really. It's a tribe of mermen. And wonderful, wonderful drawing of the watery world of the cups. I have to say this deck is it's getting quite hard to find. It's pretty much sold out. When I was last in Watkins, they had about 7 copies left, and I don't think they're going to be getting any more in. There's the 3. You almost feel that the world of cups is underwater. I'll be really honest, I don't grab this deck for casual readings. I mean, I'm reading tarot every day now. I've got quite a sort of constant practice going. And I like to use trashy little, cheap little pirate RWS decks. This deck is big, it's quite difficult to shuffle, and it's kind of like a special occasion deck. But it's one of the few decks I know that really, really creates an atmosphere of specialness. And you just feel that the cards are really singing, that they're really, really speaking to you. Some of these pages are quite right and proper. They're real sort of little dream pin-up boys. That seems to be a pair of tights he's wearing, cut off at the feet. It's impossible to tell which era they're in. Is this Elizabethan? Is it the Romantic era? Who knows? And here we have the Knight of Cups riding an eagle. And we note, ladies and gentlemen, that this tarot designer has actually got his astrological symbols right. Yes, the eagle does relate to Scorpio, and that is a water sign. We have the Queen of Cups. And another very lovely king. Last suit, possibly one of the prettiest suit of swords you're likely to see. And then again, swords are yet again another tribe. They're very delicate, the swords people. Maybe because they're a bit in their heads, aren't they? This is a young guy who's made this deck. He's very modest. He has a very modest presence on Facebook. But the maturity is extraordinary. So here we have a tribe of rather heady, swordy people. And the swords themselves are very delicate. And the men are rather thin, and they don't have such huge hands and feet. And they're not quite so hairy. And they're wearing wispy, flimsy, transparent garments. And I think they have wings, actually. Let's have a look. Look, this is the Five of Swords. I think they have wings, don't they? They're little fairies. And here we are, a lovely, lovely six. The sneaky seven. And the gorgeous eight. But look at this nine, you know, I mean, wow. This is the nightmare card, but what an elegant nightmare. What an elegant face, and look at his bed, or his chaise longue. That's Rococo, isn't it? So I think the styles are really a gorgeous mixture. You just feel it's just historicism. And then the 10. You wouldn't mind drawing the 10 of Swords if you drew it in this deck, because everything's so lovely. The court cards in the Swords are absolutely fabulous because the colour's so nice. Here we have the Knight riding a dolphin. Look at that boot. And a very, very memorable Queen of Swords, who seems to have the head of John the Baptist there, which she's holding very daintily in her hand. I mean, that has to be one of the most beautiful tarot images I've come across. And then, look, the King. What's not to like about that King of Swords? So, ladies and gentlemen, the Oculi Occultati tarot by the lovely and very modest Radomił Bogusławski. And let's hope that this tarot deck has a second run. Let's hope that maybe they do a smaller version in either standard tarot size or even a bridge size. But we're not complaining, are we? There are probably a few left in the world. They're not wildly expensive. They're just an indie tarot deck. But if I were you, I would hoover them up, because this is clearly a collector's item of the future. So you have been listening to Robert Farrar of Robert Farrar's Tea and Tarot. It's a lovely day in June. It's very hot and I've got a cold, but I'm soldiering on because I'm a trooper. Have a lovely day. Cheers. Bye.